Hello, this is Marge Benham-Hutchins, and this lecture is on Protected Health Information Data Security. Unsecured Protected Health Information, or PHI, is that information which is not secured by a technology standard. And this means that there are particular protocols and guidelines that determine these standards, and that standard renders the PHI unusable, unreadable, or indecipherable to unauthorized individuals. And a breach is the unauthorized acquisition, access, use, disclosure of protected health information, which comprises the security or privacy of such information. I highly encourage you to review the content in chapters 20, the electronic healthcare system issues, and chapter 25, legal and ethical issues, so you can become more aware of what is protected health information and how things can go wrong, and that this information is somehow disclosed to the wrong people. Healthcare organizations are responsible for prevention of data breaches, and this includes developing policies and procedures, and to be sure that these are accessible by the people that work in the organization. They need to analyze the system vulnerabilities. They need to take inventory of the personal identifiable information and personal health information that they collect, so they know where they collect it and what type of information and who has access to that information. They need to review pertinent federal and local regulations, and they need to monitor employee compliance and track any external threats. External threats could be people trying to break into the network to steal either personal health information or many times credit information, so that it can be used in an unauthorized way. Employee compliance, of course, is I'll discuss on the next slide, and the employee in terms of what the nurse as an employee of the organization. And then the pertinent regulations. Healthcare organizations now have specific people who are trained in data security to be sure that these regulations are upheld and that they can identify any vulnerabilities and block the unauthorized access of information. As a nurse, you're often hear information about how, as an individual, you could prevent data breaches. And this has to do with access to provide personal health information that is protected. This may be accessing only the information of patients that you're caring for, and there are rules and regulations having to do with other patients that are in the system. They may have to do with levels of access that are granted actually by a system administrator. The use of passwords and signing out and signing in, and rules such as logging off when you leave a computer, where you log in, who can see the screen. And then an important one for nurses is social media. Many nurses have Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts. They may even have a blog. And it's very important that nurses do not breach patient confidentiality accidentally while they're using these particular social media applications. I will provide in the course the white paper, A Nurse's Guide to the Use of Social Media, and this is published by the National Council of State Boards of Nursing, and it addresses a lot of the issues that may have to do with your licensure and Board of Nursing sanctions if you if you are responsible for a data breach. And the American Nurses Association also has come up with 6 tips for nurses using social media. And I will provide that document also in the course. But the things they really emphasize to avoid problems are remembering the standards of professionalism. They're the same online as in person. So you wouldn't talk about a patient on the elevator, in the hallway, or in some other public area, and you should not talk about patients either direct or implied in a social media application. Don't post any information or photos. This is really important. You cannot even post a picture of a wound, for instance. That is protected, and that is not something that you can do as an individual. You need to maintain professional boundaries, and you need to really think clearly about whether or not online contact with patients is appropriate or if it would blur this particular boundary. Don't make disparaging remarks about patients, employers, or coworkers, even if you don't identify them. People may know where you work. There may be a variety of things that can happen. And don't take photos or videos of your patients using personal devices such as cell phones. And promptly report a breach of confidentiality or privacy. I encourage you to review the 6 tips for nursing and the white paper so that you can avoid having problems with this in the future.